feeling? Hope y'all doing good. We've survived the ice and the snow, and now we just gotta survive getting to summer. Then we'll complain about summer, but that's just how it works living in the South, y'all. We know that. I do want to give a shout out if you have a chance to visit any of your favorite small businesses. Like some of mine are like Quick Fix in Maryville. It's a coffee shop. Cup Runneth Over. It's another coffee shop in Sweetwater. Tennessee Salt. Tennessee Salt House. It's a distillery. It's actually a distillery, but they have an old salt house in Jonesboro. Great place. Gotta go. Funnest thing I've ever done in Jonesboro. No offense. But go support your small businesses that you love, because you don't want to see them disappear, because I know a lot of them had to close for this. It was awful. Nashville had a lot of issues with this. And I hope that everybody's finally coming through it and we all have power and heat again. And, it's just like it happens once every couple years. But when it happens, y'all, it happens. Ooh, Lord, we know. Secondly, don't forget to check out my social media. That Tennessee Feeling, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. On YouTube, I got a lot of recipes too, y'all. Check them out if you're looking for some good comfort food or Southern cooking. But if you also have an idea for the podcast, reach out on one of them. If y'all want to hear a certain topic, if y'all want to know something about Tennessee, just ask. I will be happy to tell y'all about it. But today I'm so excited. Today we're going to talk about one of my favorite things that have ever come out of Tennessee, other than, myself and my family. We're going to talk about Lodge cast iron, y'all. I love it. If you've ever seen my social media, you know that I will push cast iron every day. It is basically the only thing I cook with. I can also say I've never been anemic since I started using it, y'all. But Lodge Cast Iron is the Lodge Manufacturing Company. It was created in 1896 by Joseph Lodge. Lodge Manufacturing is one of America's oldest cookware companies, and has been in continuous operation since 1896. It was founded in South Pittsburgh, Tennessee. And by the way, they have the cutest little museum. You have to go, which I'll tell you about. But it is actually still owned and managed by the Lodge family. Most cast iron sold by Lodge is produced in its foundry in South Pittsburgh, which you can see behind the museum. Still operational today. This is my favorite cookware. I inherited it from my grandma. And the reason it's so good is because it's so durable. It is such a durable, great cooking. It's even heating. You can put it in the oven, you can put it on the stove, you can put it on the grill. This is just one of my favorite cookwares, y'all. So I was so happy. I was like, I gotta talk about this. It's from Tennessee. So we know Joseph Lodge founded it, but what happened? So Joseph Lodge actually traveled to the U.S. before going to work on the railroads in Cuba, and finally came back to Tennessee. He built the Lodge family home in 1877, and then opened their first foundry in 1896 named Black Lock Foundry, which would later become Lodge. In 1910, the Black Lock Foundry burned down. When Joseph Lodge rebuilt it, he renamed it the Lodge Manufacturing. Lodge Manufacturing is one of the oldest in America cookware companies continuously in operation. Now, Joseph Lodge and his wife settled in South Pittsburgh, Tennessee, which was about 3,000 people at the time, and it's right on the Tennessee River next to the Cumberland Plateau. I mean, you go to South Pittsburgh and you look up one side and you look up the other, and you're just in the middle of mountains. It's beautiful. The Lodge family has kept its Marion County home in Tennessee and employed its residents ever since. The town's population of 3,000 was actually much smaller when Lodge first went there. In fact, it was the largest manufacturer in the city at that time, and probably still is to this day. By the late 1950s, 1965, Lodge transferred its molding and casting process to a revolutionary automated system. That's right, they probably automated before anybody else, y'all. In 1973, their iconic, recognizable logo was created. It's still used today. You can find it stamped on the back of their cast iron or on the handle. Now, in 2002, Lodge became the first cast iron cookware manufacturer to pre-season their products in the foundry. Before then, you actually had to season your own cookware, which is why some of us still learn today, because our grandparents taught us how to do it, which I'll get into that in a second. In 2013, Lodge started their carbon steel cookware line, which makes high-quality carbon steel cookware. That's right, they were first known for cast iron, now they're known for carbon steel. Lodge also introduced a line of enameled cast iron cookware in 2005, and this was to match the ability of their European manufacturers, such as La Crusette. I know that that's a huge one. I actually have a couple of their pieces, and I still prefer the Lodge ones. In fact, my enameled cast iron Dutch oven is probably one of my favorite Lodge pieces I own. In 2017, Lodge opened their second foundry, increasing their manufacturing capacity up by 75%. The facility is 127,000 square feet, which increased production by 75%, almost doubled. The foundry is located in New Hope, Tennessee. That's right, they kept it local, y'all. In 2019, Lodge unveiled 7 new cast iron cookware products under its label Blacklock, which is a throwback to its original foundry. The new lighter gourmet line of skillets and ovens. In August of 2019, Lodge announced the acquisition of the startup Finex Cast Iron Cookware based in Portland, Oregon. They're expanding. And of course, you can visit the Lodge Museum of Cast Iron, built in coalition with the Southern Foodways Alliance, that opened in October of 22, y'all. So, how did they actually get this to kind of work? So, original cast iron cookware was made using sand and building the mold within the sand, and then workers would then pour in the iron into the mold, and it would set the cast. Now, of course, Lodge is not the only cast iron cookware manufacturer, but to me it's the best. Not only because it's made in Tennessee, but it truly is great. And the reasons that I love cast iron is because it is so versatile. You know, I have taken it camping. I use it every day. I use it for my baking, my cooking. It's just so, it's so well made, and it's so built. Like, I have some that's over 100 years old because it was my grandma's. And of course, Lodge has gone through, their changes. And of course, as they have, you could tell kind of what year you got by kind of how the pan looks. I will tell you just a second. I don't want to get it wrong, so I want to make sure I'm correct on this. So basically, you can date it by how it looks. The Lodge logo, of course, developed over time. An arrow running through the L indicates that the cast iron was made before 1950. A square L started in the 1950s, and a diamond-shaped L logo came in the 1960s. Also, size numbers. Size numbers on the bottom of the skillet can indicate manufacturing periods. For example, three-digit numbers suggest that the skillet was made between the 1950s and the 1960s. There's also pattern numbers, and there's also handle designs. Now, that being said, I had some that I found that didn't even have like a logo on it. And if you want if you ever find a really, really old skillet that says Blacklock, that's original, what would be Lodge. That was the very early years. That was their first creations. If you ever find one, dear Lord, you've struck gold and you need to hold on to that. Then they changed it in 1910 to 1930 to a smooth bottom. Lodge skillets had a smooth bottom, meaning they lacked any markings other than the logo. And the logo itself was simpler and just featured the word Lodge. I actually own one of these from my grandma. There's also the 3-notch era, which started in the 1940s to present, which is, you can also find these a lot. I found these a lot in thrift stores. Lodge began adding 3 notches to the heat ring on the bottom of the skillet. And the reason they did it was to stabilize the skillet on a gas stove. Because it had, the gas stoves have like the trivet thing you set the skillet on. And sometimes they wouldn't quite sit right or kind of fall. That kind of gives you a broad time frame if you find one of those. Of course, today, Lodge is on, you can see it on the bottom. You can see it on, there's like the handle, and then there's like a second holder that comes out that just says Lodge. That's really more what the present one looks like. Now, the handles also changed over the years, y'all. The early Lodge handles had more of an angular handle. They're shorter, a little bit less ergonomic, so like you have to be very careful picking them up. And some of the Lodge handle silicone things don't fit on them because they're so short. I have burned myself many times at my grandma's house using one of those. And of course, as time went on, the handles became more rounded, more comfortable to grip. Some of them have a hanging loop, which is great because I've actually hung cast iron on my wall. So I love actually showing off my Lodge because I'm a Southerner. It's what I do. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, it's easier for storage. Um, you can stack cast iron really well. It won't scratch it, but sometimes you just need to, like, I have one hanging in my stove so that I just grab it and easily use it. Um, and then also Lodge has some markings on it that's kind of like, looks like a code. Um, they're either marked as a 3, 5, 8, or 10. This is actually the diameter of the skillet. And the style font can also indicate the year it was made. Um, Other markings, you can find pattern numbers or mold identifications. That also kind of helps give you a feeling of when it was made. But the surface texture. Vintage Lodge skillets have a smoother, polished surface, and this is due to the way they used to cast them and finish them. This is also due to the fact that they weren't pre-seasoned, and you had to season them. My grandma used to season her once a year. Every time, never failed. She'd wash them, re-oil them, but she'd re-season them once a year. Never failed. Modern skillets, though, have a slightly rougher texture. They're pre-seasoned in the factory, which creates that textured surface. It is still great for cooking because the old ones, the vintage ones that have been seasoned and seasoned and seasoned, they kind of create like this polished, non-stick coated surfacing. It's great. But modern skillets have a rougher texture, but they're still, I use mine one or the other. It doesn't matter. I have no problem grabbing either. The early Lodge skillets also did not have a heat ring. That's how I knew the one that I had from my grandma was one of the originals. It does not have a heat ring, so if I use it, I have to be kind of careful depending on where I sit it. And of course, you can look all this up. You can find it online. That's how I had to research what I had from my grandma. And of course, everybody always gets the notion of, oh, you can't wash cast iron. Yes, you can. Yes, you absolutely can. Cleaning your cast iron with warm water and a non-abrasive sponge is fine, but you can use Dawn dish detergent on the new ones. I've done it many times. I scrape all the bits off that are left. Then I will warm water, a nice little sponge, get my little soap, not a lot, little soap. Little soap goes a long way, y'all. And I'll just clean it off till it's clean. I also own some Lodge scrapers. There's some that are grooved because I have a griddle skillet. And then there's the simple one. And what it is it helps you get that inside ring so that nothing sticks. But you can absolutely wash them with dish soap. And it's fine. But once you're done, you've got to dry them. You've got to completely dry them off. Dry them off real good. Make sure they're not wet. Wet kind of creates rust. And then I still use a little bit of oil on mine. Just a very little bit. I mean, like less than a teaspoon, like a really tiny amount. Because again, oil also goes a long way, y'all. And I just rub all over it, make it look pretty again, make it look a little shiny. And then I just let it sit for a little while, and then I put it away. It's actually super easy to take care of cast iron. And what's nice about it is that it lasts. It really does, unless you physically snap a cast iron in half, which is hard to do, you can save cast iron very easily. I've done it. I've done it to, I had one of my husband's, his grandma and his aunt, I saved theirs. It's real easy, y'all. And believe it or not, a potato will take rust off a cast iron. Not even kidding, y'all. But Lodge has been around a very long time. And they are very, very good at what they do. And they still do it to this day. It's been over 120 years. And they still make cast irons all the time. It is a great thing. You can go to the museum. I actually love the museum. Yeah, well, I'm just saying, I love the museum. I love all the stuff in it. Because they do make a little bit more than cast iron. And if you go in the museum, you actually can visit, learn about the past. They usually say take about an hour to do it. They have a lot of cool photo ops. So if you got it, selfies, cameras, it is $10 plus tax to enter. But the admission fee applies to $10 off a coupon with a $50 purchase. So, because you're going to go, you might buy something. It's open 7 days a week, 8 to 6. It's right there in South Pittsburgh next to the foundry. And it's really cool because it really does show like Joseph Lodge and how he founded it, and then how far it's come, and how far cast iron's really come in the in the they've kind of kept up with the times, but they still make it a classic, great thing. They have a store, and they actually have a Big Bad Breakfast. That is a restaurant. Yes, it's in South Pittsburgh. It is a breakfast. It's open 7 to 2:30, and they use cast iron in this, because why not? South Pittsburgh. And what I like about Big Bad Breakfast is that they have a gluten-free. They have actually a gluten-free guide, an allergy guide. Shows gluten-free, vegetarian, vegan, nut allergies, kind of what to avoid, what you can eat. And it's really, really cool that they have, they've opened this. Now, there's actually a Big Bad Breakfast. There's more than one. I know there's one near Huntsville, Alabama. I've seen it. But they also were the ability to open one in the Lodge Foundry. And it's really cool that Lodge has worked with Big Bad Breakfast to be able to do this. I think it's great that Lodge is still supporting South Pittsburgh, but also supporting another small business. And of course, you can shop all of their items. But what's also cool about Lodge is they have recipes. If you go on their website, they have recipes. They teach you cleaning tips, how-tos, cleaning care. And if you ever follow them on Instagram, like, they do a lot of videos, and it's absolutely great. But what also is cool about Lodge is they let you customize things. That's right. You can create a custom cast iron. They let you choose your design, enter your message, if you need any accessories with it, and then in about a month or two, you get this beautiful, engraved, personalized skillet. And I'm gonna do that one day. It's my goal. It's about $100. I love it. But if you actually go look at Lodge, it's not just cast iron, or it's not just cast iron, but it's not just skillets. Like, they have so much stuff. They have the enamel Dutch ovens. They have lids for their cast iron. They have silicone handle holders, which are very well needed. They have cast iron grills. They have like this chainmail scrubby pad that works really great. But they also have griddles. They have a reversible griddle that's got flat on one side and grill marks on the other, or raised marks. They have a round grill press. They have Dutch ovens. Like, you name it. I have a bread pan. I have a casserole pan. I have a pizza pan. And all of these things are so well made and so great to use. Because it is so versatile. They do have what I think is really cool is they do have, I guess the best way to describe it is, I don't even know how, okay, so like, for whatever reason this word is leaving me, but like, they have a Dolly Parton collection, they have a Sugar Skull collection, they have a Bird collection, they have a Yellowstone collection. Like, they have made it to where fans of these things can purchase cast iron with it on there. The Dolly Parton one is some of my favorite, because it's Dolly, Queen of Tennessee, and it's, but it's great. They have like a little rock star guitar mini skillet, and they have trivets with butterflies, and they really do have something for everybody. But don't be afraid to use cast iron. I know we've all heard like, oh, you got to take care of it, and you do, but it's actually not that hard. I find it easier than dealing with my stupid ceramic pots I have. Got to worry about scratching them. Got to worry about cleaning them right. Got to worry about, can they go in the dishwasher? These you just wash with some warm water, a little bit of soap, and dry it, oil it, and you're good. And it'll last you. It'll be the last thing you ever buy. But what they also did is they also kind of expanded to where they have seasonings. They have cornbread. They have seasonings. They have splatter screens, which I gotta buy a new one on that one, y'all. And they're good. Like, they're actually really good. Like, I have a couple of the seasonings, and I was leery at first. I got a free one time when I bought pan, but their fireside garlic and herb blend, y'all, that's good. Put that on a little bit of chicken or a hamburger, fried in your skillet. You're gonna have a good dinner. or lunch or whatever you're eating. But they have everything that goes with owning a cast iron, and they teach you online how to take care of it. And, they continue to work in South Pittsburgh, and they really do, uphold that community. And they still, like, I know people who've worked there for years because they think it's such a great place to work. And so, yes, I'm a huge cast iron person. And so, of course, I had to talk about it. But it's also cool that it's from Tennessee, made in Tennessee, and lasts a very long time, y'all. So if you're new to cast iron, or for whatever reason, I just go buy one. You can even buy Lodge in Walmart. I've seen it in Food City. I've seen it in Publix. I've seen it in Sam's. Go buy you one and just give it a try. I like it because it's even heating, which it is so even heating that do not touch the handle of your cast iron while it's on the stove, y'all. It's exactly how you get a bad burn. Let me tell you, years of experience on that one, and still do it sometimes. But, go give it a try. Don't be scared of it. It is probably some of the best things ever. And fun fact, y'all, it does work as a weapon. I'm just kidding. Don't swing a cast iron at anybody. It actually will hurt them. But I remember when they came out with their lighter cast iron, and I picked it up, and I picked up one of the actual cast iron, like old school ones. And the lady in the store kind of looking at me, and she's like, "Is everything okay?" And I said, "Oh, I just wanted to see the new, the lighter version." And she goes, "Oh yeah, it's great." And I said, No, I want it to be a weapon." I don't think she stopped laughing for like 5 minutes, but anyways, you guys, give it a try. My cooking game stepped up so much when I just consistently started using cast iron. So I can't say enough about it. But yeah, so if you're ever in South Pittsburgh or in Chattanooga, drive over to South Pittsburgh. It's maybe 30 minutes, depending on how I-24 decides to be that day. And just go look around the museum. Enjoy yourself. Go eat breakfast at Big Bad Breakfast. And just kind of have fun. It's a true Tennessee gym. It really is. And it's great that they still operate. And not only do they still operate there, but they did open the second one and kept it local. So I'm going to tell y'all a fun fact about Tennessee now in each episode. I think that's a good thing we can do. And so today's fun fact is machine-made cotton candy was invented in Tennessee by an actual dentist and a candy maker in 1897. That is your Tennessee fun fact, y'all. Thanks for sticking around this month. I'll see you next month, and don't forget to stay country.
This podcast is a production of Unfiltered Studios. If you would like to know more about joining Unfiltered Studios, please visit our website at unfpod.com for more information.